What's going on, you guys? Ghost here, talking about the game. I know it's been Tuesday, but I also figured I should wait till the Monday night game was over, given it was the Chiefs. So the Raiders barely beat the Bengals, and I could not see that one live when it happened because I had to work, but it's really a good thing I didn't. I mean, when I watched the tape and watched as much as I could, really, really awful to watch. So talking about the bads, I mean, the most obvious one, offensive line, completely just collapsed. They looked lost. Derek Carr was getting sacked. I was very uncomfortable watching that. It wasn't cool. The offensive line just couldn't protect Derek Carr. You talk about overlooking an opponent. I think that the offensive line is the one that did. The other one, run defense. If the Bengals ran the ball more, they may have scored a lot more points. They may have even run out the clock had they had the lead, but because they were trailing, they had to throw the ball, and that's probably the only reason they won is because they saw a quarterback making his second career start or something. I know Andy Dalton is out and all that, so this was ugly, just ugly, and I thought it was very unwatchable that this team was trying to lose. It felt like they overlooked the opponent at the end of the day. But a win is a win. So let's talk about the positives. So the pass rush, Max Crosby, MVP of this game, no questions asked. Everyone's bringing up the stats about Max Crosby having more sacks than Khalil Mack, and yeah, it's funny, but let's remember that sacks are not what a pass rusher is measured by. It's fun, it's great for what it is. It is what it is, though. I don't really know what to think, though. This team, the pass rush was there, and that's good, but also the quarterback was really dumb. He made some classic rookie mistakes, very inexperienced. You could tell from what you saw. If they ran the ball better and if they had the lead, there would have been a different game plan. But the complexion was changed. Second quarter was the other positive. Fine, Derek Carr made some plays, but at the end of the day, there was a lot more conservative play calling, I thought, just in the second half. Not as bad as the previous week, but they played down to this level of the opponent. The Bengals are winless. Thank goodness they're 0-10 because one of you brought up 1993, and yeah, it made me look it up how they were 0-10, and the LA Raiders lost to the Bengals to give them their first win. Thankfully, that's not the case. This team just was straight up terrible on the day, and if they saw about 25 out of the 31 other teams in the league, they probably lose. But because they saw a backup quarterback and a team that was so bad, it was like, okay, you win by default. If you were going to lose, it would have been, or if you were going to make it close, I thought the defense was going to be terrible. But nope, we have a bad offense. The defense looks good statistically, but once again, they gave up a lot of rushing yards on this game, so I'm not going to put a lot of stock into the defense. As cool as Max Crosby looked and a lot of plays that the defensive line made, there's a lot of flaws with this team with the linebackers and the secondary, and they're signing guys off the street, which I'll get to later. But this also brings me to the point where next week you got the Jets. Really, if this team wants to win the division, it's a must-win scenario. They have to win every game on the schedule if they want the division, because the Chiefs in the regular season, it's fun to see them struggle, but we saw last night that the Chargers lost. Phillip Rivers, I think, pretty much threw the game away like he did against the Raiders, call it an equalizing moment, but yeah, the Chiefs, as of right now, the Chiefs are still the better team offensively. We've seen it before. Once, as much as they're struggling and underachieving, it's funny. They show up against the Raiders defense, they light it up, and it's annoying. So, yes, they're on a bye week this coming week against the Jets. While the Raiders play the Jets, they're on a bye week, and then of course the Raiders got to go to Kansas City, which we know that's a big task in itself. There's a lot of issues. There's a lot of problems. There's just a lot of problems right now with the defense. Why I'm not exactly feeling the most excited or optimistic is because we're signing guys off the street. Dion Jordan, DJ Swearinger, guys who were former busts. They're desperate right now. There's all the injuries piling up. Specifically, the secondary I don't think is very good. But if they get the pass rush, maybe that can be the equalizer. I don't know. The problem is you can't just blitz and then the guys are going to be left open. We all know how that works. There were some plays where I believe Tyler Eifert was wide open because the Raiders blitzed. So what happens here? Anything could happen, right? You're right in the hunt. There's a lot of teams that wish they could be 6-4, but I don't think that this team is as good as their record is. Unfortunately, they're still This is still a mediocre team that's getting a lot of breaks going their way, and in this case it was seeing a very bad quarterback and a very bad opponent, but they played so terribly that more times than not they would lose, and fine. Just win, baby. That happened. They just won, and that's it. It's not that I hate winning, but I wanted style points. I wanted this team to make a statement and say they can take care of business, and they couldn't. Game was way too close for comfort. I don't know how many of you had a heart attack, but I wasn't impressed. Just at the end of the day, this team has to show that they're better. There's good individuals. What is showing is the Khalil Mack trade is good in hindsight. We are seeing the Bears right now struggle. That's the thing I'm really cheering and excited for, because that draft pick is looking better. Right now the Bears have more issues than us. That's the good thing. But in terms of this team wanting to be a contender and doing it right now in their last year in Oakland, I don't know. This is still that transition year in the big picture. Everyone knows my goal is what I want for this team to do, so getting in isn't enough for me. You all know that. This team's got to show me that they're better on all sides of the ball and not that they just sit on it. But the other question of the game that I'll have to ask is about the punts. There was a punt when they were deep into possible field goal range to end the game. They chose to punt the ball and kick it deep. And actually, I agree with that call. Would you have kicked the field goal with Carlson and taken a risk? Because Carlson's not the field goal kicker that Janikowski was. So that was an easy call for me too, given who was the quarterback. If there was a great quarterback like Aaron Rodgers, maybe I would not have done that. But punting the ball there was probably the right call, and I hate to say that was conservative, but that's a call I would have made given the situation. So, let me know what y'all thought of this game. I'm just kind of meh. I'm not exactly excited. I'm not angry. It is what it is. I'll see you guys later.